Hello and welcome to the Irish Pagan School with myself, Lora O'Brien. And I'm here answering questions that were asked to me by my students in the Morrigan membership community. Now, we do have an AMA, and Ask Me Anything, where I will be answering questions. I'll be putting them on my YouTube just for accessibility. But if you want to ask me these questions, then you can go and join the Morrigan membership community, and I will put a link below to do that. So, Natasha asked me, what personal practices have truly helped deepen your relationship with the Morrigan, i.e., specific types of rituals or services to her? And when did you feel that your relationship with her moved to a deeper level? So, two different questions, I suppose. Um, First off, my relationship with the Morrigan is a little bit different than I think most people because I jumped in feet first without really knowing what I was doing. I had a very specific need, a very dire and urgent need, and she offered support in exchange for me working with her. And I really do believe that that is when my relationship deepened with her. So that's kind of the second part of the question. The other part, personal practices which have truly helped. Now, I talk about this a lot, but consistency for me is the big one. Really, really is the big one. I always bang on about it. In the Irish Pagan School, we have the three pillars of pagan practice, which are we learn, we experience, and we integrate. So the learning side of things, I regularly will read the Chira, the Second Battle of Moitura. I will read the Tawn. I will read small passages on a pretty much daily basis, just even a line or two. Sometimes I'll randomly open the books. Morgan Daimler has an excellent translation of the Chira. I'll link that below as well. And also is doing a class on exploring the Chira. So feel free to take that at the Irish Pagan School. Again, I'll link that below. But it is an absolutely seminal text for understanding the Tuatha Dé Danann, but obviously for the Mórrígan as well. So I do have the book, which is Morgan Daimler's translation. It is my preferred translation because it includes the prophecy poetry of the Mórrígan and other parts that are not usually translated in, for example, Elizabeth Gray's version. So that's the one that I use, and I will often just randomly open it in the morning or in the evening and really use the couple of lines or a paragraph or sometimes a whole page or two will catch me. It doesn't take very long, but it's enough to just kind of percolate around in my brain. So that's my learning part of things. My experiencing is I every single day I check in with the Morrigan, right? So this is where I will do something very, very simple, like light a candle, or I will do one of my particular journeys to meet the Morrigan or one of her sisters. There's loads of information on that at theirishpaganschool.com. Classes, there's a whole free class if you want to learn that journeying technique. It really is the foundation of my spiritual and magical practice. So I teach it for free because I think that it's a very, very important part of everybody's self-development and growth. So it's growth, even not growth. So it's all there for you anyway. But I will do a meditation or a guided journey or something as simple as just lighting a candle, taking a few breaths. And really, what I'm doing in those times is experiencing the Morrigan, at least potentially. The Morrigan does not show up for me every single day, right? She will show up when she has something to tell me or something to a piece of work for me to do or something for my attention, something that my attention needs to be brought to. The Morrigan will absolutely show up. Sometimes during those daily practices, what she does is reminds me of stuff that I either am doing well. Sometimes, occasionally, I get a yeah, good, but it's more like the Granny Weatherwax head nod, or that kind of thing, rather than any kind of praise or anything. But sometimes I get told that, yeah, you're on the right track, you're doing the right things. Sometimes I get a kick up the hole because I have completely like avoided doing something that I know that I should be doing, work for her. And sometimes it's just a, yeah, whatever, carry on, you're grand. So, but she doesn't always show up. But definitely, if there's a message that she needs to give to me, I find that it's really important out of all of our busy days, it's really important to actually make that space. So that is a personal practice that I experience every single day. And I say every single day. So there are days when I'm sick and I don't do anything. There are days when there's so much on or there's an emergency or something like that. And I kind of have a rule for myself that I don't miss 2 days, that even if there's something that happens that I miss a day, I don't miss 2 days in a row. So that's what kind of keeps me on track with consistency. And sometimes it can be as simple as literally standing in front of our altar and taking a breath. And that's it. That's all it takes. Sometimes it's more involved. There's a half an hour or an hour of journey work and all the rest of it. So all of that's going on pretty much a daily basis. So that's learning and experiencing. And then my practice goes on then to integration, which is the third pillar of Irish paganism. In my tradition, in my teaching. So the integration part of it is where I really begin to figure things out. So sometimes that will be a divination process. If I've received a message that's a little bit cryptic, because the Morrgan can be very cryptic sometimes, I will use divination. I use Ogham. You can check out Ogham at the Ogham Academy. The Ogham will generally put me on the right path. I do have the Jane Brightson's Cailleach Oracle cards, which are fantastic. And I have another Crow Tarot deck, which I can't remember, MJ Cullinan, I think, which is good. So I use both of those as well. If I need a little bit of extra kind of pictorial inspiration or anything like that. And I find that kind of integration, working with the messages that I've received, um, really helps to clarify things if they need clarification. Now, if it's something that there's a lesson that has been shown to me or something that I'm experiencing from the learning portion of it, that it has stayed with me or it struck me or it gave me an emotional response and I experienced something physically or emotionally based on what I had learned that morning, then the integration will usually take the form of journaling. It really is my favorite, hand-eye coordination, and it really kind of gets it into your brain, your heart, your soul. I'm a big fan of analog paper, bullet journaling, all of that. And my journal is the reason that I use the bullet journal is because when I write something on the day that I need to integrate, it is literally integrated into my life because the bullet journal is my second brain. It's my external brain, the neurodiverse part of me that really needs to have that support with the memory and with the organization and all the rest of it. I have found that it might not work for you, but I have found that in the bullet journal system. So I have one big journal that takes care of everything. It's indexed, it's divided by month, by week. So I chronologically I have everything in order. Um, but also then there's context for what's going on. So I can look at something that I have journaled that day or that week or that month, even. I can see what moon phase it's in. I can see whether I was ill. I can see if there was anything else going on, if I was super busy, if I was in the middle of a big launch or, writing a book or anything like that. So I know kind of where my stress levels were at. And all of that is really important for context and for integration. So, really, those three pillars of Irish paganism, the learn, experience, and integrate, have really been essential. And that's why I put them into. There is a free resource which you can access. So, it's irishpagan.school/3 days. And it's a little 3 day kind of challenge email series that you get that takes you through the three pillars of Irish paganism, not in a Morrigan specific context, but just to learn those kind of fundamentals and those basics of the actual practice. And then for the Morrigan specific stuff, there is, I suppose, a little version of this in the 5 day challenge. And look, this is the reason that I put all this stuff together, that I put it out there for free. Obviously, I teach much more in depth versions of it in my paid material, in the paid classes. There's a lot more time and space. The Morrigan Intensive is 6 months. So we have a lot of time together to go over all of the program material and tick all the boxes for what people need to learn to make sure. But if you're just starting, or if you're just curious, or if you're just interested, I'm not going to make anybody pay for that. I want people to get the tools that they need to develop their own practice. So that are my specific types of rituals and services to her that have had the most impact on me and on my relationship with the Morrigan. And that's really what it's all about, is building a relationship, a right relationship, core quivness, as I call it, with the Morrigan or any other deity, really. But it's so important that you are consistently showing up, that you are the one putting in the effort, and eventually, sooner or later, that deity will at least acknowledge your presence, right? And there are many, many different ways that the Morrigan decides to work with somebody, to have a relationship with somebody. That priesthood of the Morrigan happens, that dedication or devotion happens. And that's really everybody's individual path. Again, there's loads of information on that on morriganintensive.com. If you want to go and have a look at what our 6-month program entails, what our shorter course, Understanding the Morrigan, entails, that's all available for you there as resources. But for now, if you want a version of this, go to irishpagan.school/3, the number 3 days, and that will give you the 3 pillars of Irish paganism, or go to the 5-day challenge. So it's morriganintensive.com/challenge. And again, I'll put links to all of that below. You can, if if you want one handy place for all of the resources, all of the free resources, there's about a year's worth of content for starting your own practice with Irish paganism. And you honestly would never have to pay us a cent if you didn't want to. You can, of course, but you don't have to. And you could do something every single day for a year. You could take me at my word, have that learn, experience, integrate relationship going on with regard to the Morrigan or the Dagda or any of the Tuatha Danann or Queen Maeve or anybody else that you're interested in, or just your ancestors, or any of the gods, guides, and guardians, or just the land of Ireland itself. There are so many free resources. So if you forget all the other links, what I want you to remember is irishpagan.school/free. And look down through that page and you'll get everything else. Okay. So I hope, Natasha, that has answered your question. And again, the first link below will be the link to the Morrigan community, where I will be answering questions from the community in videos just like this. Thank you to everybody who has joined the community. We have a small but busy membership going on. There's currently, as I record this, there's 37 members in the community. So you're all very welcome. And I hope that these resources are going to prove very, very useful for you. Okay. So slán go fóill, and I will see you in the next video.